Now let's finish putting in our data. In our example, we get 15 days of vacation each year. So let's go to B3, type in 15, and press enter. We won't put in the total hours right now. And the reason is that our total hours will be 15 days times 8 hours a day. And since we can figure that out, we're going to let Excel figure that out. As a matter of fact, that's a good general rule to follow. If you have an entry that you can figure out based on other entries, like 15 times 8, you're going to enter that as a formula. Now, since we're not ready for formulas yet, we're going to skip that part and go down and finish putting in the rest of our data. To do that, let's go down to A6 and we'll type in the word date there for a date heading. And next to that, we'll put in the word hours because we want to know how many hours we requested for each day. We're going to make these bold too, but we're not going to boldface them individually like we did everything else. Instead, we're going to click and drag to select both of those cells. And there's really only one trick you have to watch with when you're clicking and dragging to select cells. Make sure the shape of the mouse is this shape. If you see an arrow shape or any other shape, then you're not selecting, you're not highlighting, you're doing something else. For example, notice I'm clicking and dragging, but I have an arrow, not the little boxy plus sign. And so when I click and drag, I actually ended up moving the cell. So I better click this button to cancel out of that. I don't want to move the cell, I just want to highlight it. To highlight it, point in the middle of the cell so you get that nice boxy plus sign shape. Then click and drag, and you've got it highlighted. And now we can click RB and make them both boldface. Now let's enter our dates. So we'll take off 5/7 and 5/8 and 5/9. I'd like to give you a quick word of explanation about dates and also times in Microsoft Excel. You can enter dates and times in most of the common date or time formats, and what your computer will do is match your entry over to a list of standard date and time formats on that computer. For example, notice when I entered May 10th, I left off the year, and as a result, the computer said, oh, you want to make it look different. Well, I don't want to make it look different, so I've got a couple of options. Probably the easiest thing to do is just to click the undo button and enter it correctly. But if it's too late to do that, you can also click on the cell and on the Home tab, go to this drop-down list. This is a drop-down list of commonly used number formats in Excel, and I'm going to choose the same format as the other date so it looks the same. Now I'll finish entering the dates and also the hours, but actually I'm going to skip ahead so you don't have to wait while I do all of that typing. Notice that I took 8 hours off most days because 8 hours is a standard day, but in June I only took a half day off, so there's only 4 hours on that day. As usual, you may want to pause for a moment and catch up with your data entry before we continue. After that, we'll put in our first simple formulas, save the file, and you will have completed your first simple spreadsheet.